Hello, today we have Reme Mancera, personal brand strategist, here to share her scaling story and all of her pivots and all of her fun magic with us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I am delighted to be here. So have fun.
So before anything else, please introduce yourself and tell us what your business looks like today. So what do you do now?
Sure. So I am Reme and I am a personal brand strategist, as you said, and I am specialized in connecting your story with the benefits of what you offer. That's my specialization now. And yeah, we will go into all the pivots and all the stuff,
Yes,
but
we will definitely go into all of that. And I think what you do now is really interesting and really unique. So perhaps you can talk a little bit about what that means. So, what does it mean to connect your story to your offers and where that came from?
wow. So yeah, that there I will try to be concise. So the idea of the connecting your story with the benefits of what you sell is coming from in personal brand. You are People are telling you that you should tell your story, but what I found is clients and people from my audience, they didn't understand why. So, what is the reason why people will care about my story if what I provide is this specific service? So, it does make sense that I share my story for this service because it's not connected. What who cares about my family, what looks like, or my previous work looks like, and things like that. So, I working with clients and having these questions again and again made me think about the thing here is that they are missing that this is it's a strategic way to share your story. It's not just about a nice, epic, interesting, outstanding story.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being strategic, why you're sharing that story. And that's why I connecting with key factors of your offering, like why you are working with the people that you are working with, why you are focusing on a specific problem or need from your clients. And then with I help my clients exploring all their journey and deciding which moments to highlight because these moments will help you to connect with your audience. They will resonate with you and they will see how you are someone unique as every one of us, right? We are different and we are a unique combination of expertise, experience, knowledge, and our personality. So, using your story in a way that will highlight that and will highlight the reasons why someone can choose our services or our offers. Maybe I can bring some example if that
Yeah,
could
yeah, for
be.
sure. I think that
uh,
would be really helpful for people to really wrap their mind around what you're talking about.
yeah. So I have a client. She's a life
Mm-hmm.
coach, and she helps female entrepreneurs who felt misaligned
Mm-hmm.
with their
Mm-hmm.
work. So through her journey, she has several businesses, and one of them, she was really successful. Externally, looks like her business was killing it. She was like working just 10 hours per week, helping her clients, getting good results for them, and getting good money. So everything like check, check, check. But then inside, she felt something was off. She was not aligned with that work anymore. So she's sharing that moment of her own story because that will connect with the problem that their actual clients are in a similar situation. They are making decisions based on other people's
Right.
expectations. So that could help. Another example of story connector, this actually the name of my framework is story connectors. So I call them like these little moments of your
I love that.
background or your path.
That's so cute. I'm like, oh,
Uh,
I like that. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, this There is another one. So I just give two examples and that could help. Is from a past work experience, and I like to bring how different academic background, different work experiences, even if they are not 100% related to what you do now, they are bringing a context of who you are and what is important to you. For her, before having that business and being life coach, she was a literature teacher and she teach poetry to 13 years
Oh,
old
yeah,
students, which is totally unrelated.
right.
And she give them an exercise where they need to write a poem about something that they would like to change in the world. And what she realized when they were reading their poems is that several of them were talking about how they felt wearing a mask, following other people's expectations, like the family expectations and things like that. And that story, with totally unrelated past work experience, is 100% connected to the feeling that the clients that she has now, they feel like that. They feel disconnected. They feel wearing a mask, not being true to themselves. So she can use that story from the poems and bring in something like really unique content, because there are no one else with that example.
Yeah.
She can bring that as a bridge to talk about the problem that her clients have. And this is the idea. You use your story to create new examples, to illustrate your concepts, to illustrate the benefits of working with you. And in this framework, there are like 10 types of story connectors. So you have your audience, the problem, your values, so on. So there are 10 of them. And the idea is, because for me, was overwhelming, the idea of having just one big story. That's how I came up with this.
Interesting.
Like, okay, let's break it down.
Yeah. So when people do this, where are they using these stories most often? Is it in their social media, their sales pages, or whatever, like this throughout everything that they do?
Yeah, so this is like useful for their About Me page, their social media profiles, their content, if they have newsletter, if they are going to be speaking in like public speaking gigs. But also I am actually constantly researching for creative ways to use your story. And for example, one of them is in your photo shoots. So how you can incorporate elements from your story in a visual way, so you have a conversation starter. And so that's
very cool.
like also in this in sales calls, if you are doing a podcast pitching, how you can incorporate one story there to connect with the host, so your email gets like more interest and more attention from the person. So yeah, you can use it in several ways, but the main one, I would say, your About Me page and content, that will be the main two uses.
So cool. Okay, so this business, what you've done is so different, so unique. I don't know anybody else who does this. Do you know other people who do? I mean, I'm not saying name them, but they're like, it's not super common, I guess is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, there are other people doing personal brand stories specifically. And yeah, so it's just the framework that I'm using is something that I came up with.
Right.
So it's a bit different, the angle, but yeah, there are more people that can help you with
your
your
way
personal brand story.
Your way is very unique, and I love how you came up with this. So let's go in our time machine and go back, because you weren't always doing this. And I think that so we actually met in real life because for a little while we lived in the same town in Spain, and it was super random. We met in a networking group online and then realized we lived in the same place, so we met up, which was really cool. So I've heard this before, but I think like it's so interesting. So talk about, so we see now you're doing this super cool thing with your own framework, but when was it and what were you doing at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey?
So actually, something that I would like to share is that I started my business when I was 40. So
yes,
you are not too old to start your own thing.
I was 39 when I started. So yeah, same. Yeah. Very important reminder.
Yeah, because you know how it is. It's I am too old, I am too this, I am not enough, whatever. So yeah, always a good reminder for all of us to keep trying. So yeah, I started as a VA for course creators. And before that, I was working in a 9 to 5 in a windowless office. I was trying to get my boss at that moment convinced to work remotely because what I needed, I can do it
Mm-hmm.
remotely. They were not okay with that. This was before pandemic, of course. And so at some point, I listened to a podcast and they said this quote: if not now, when?
Mm.
If not now, maybe never.
Mm.
And that hit home. It was like, wow. I decided to quit and I started my own business. I was for a while just figuring out what to do.
Yeah.
And
Well, but here's the funny
random.
thing too is that, or the interesting thing is that, like the US is known to be more like entrepreneurial and you can make your dreams come true. And not
Mm,
everybody has that experience, of course, but the culture encourages it. I feel that in Spain, it's not encouraged. So, like going out and just starting a business is not quote unquote normal, even less so than in the US. So,
yeah.
so how was that when you were like telling your family, you're like, hey, I'm quitting my job and starting my own business? And so it's just interesting because there's not so many people doing or as many people doing it here.
Yeah, you're right. It was shocking for them because I have never shared like I want to run my own business and things like that. So they were like kind of, let's say, surprised. And it was kind of random how I got to that point. But then it was like, yeah, I want to try this. I want to try to work from anywhere because that was my main point of starting my own business. And having the chance to do things in another
Yeah.
way that I was doing it. And yeah, I am lucky. They were super supportive, even though they don't really understand maybe what I was
Yeah.
doing or what was like. Yeah, I was working on my computer, what that means, and
Yeah.
like the real things that I was doing. But yeah, really supportive. And I had that as a yeah, this was helpful for making the decisions without the pressure of
Mm.
not having a supportive system, let's say.
Right. Right. And when did you start your business? What year?
2018.
2018. Okay, cool. Okay, so you started as a virtual assistant for course creators, and then, okay, you were doing that. And then at some point, you said, okay, I want to do something different. So, can you talk about that point of, I want to do something different? What was going on internally? Like, what was happening there? And did you know what you wanted to do, or was this, kind of a path?
Yeah, it was a path, and it was yeah. I when I started as a VA, actually it was random how I learned about what is a
Mm.
VA because I didn't know what is a
Mm-hmm.
VA. So in a newsletter they were asking for that. It was, oh, actually I can do this. So and then I keep researching and okay, I can do this. I was I knew that I want to be specialized in a certain area or topic of group of people, something, because it was overwhelming the amount of people offering VA services and the different services that you can offer. So I decided to go from one specific and helping course creator because I was already in that course creation area with the previous company. And with the clients working as a VA, I realized that the part that they enjoy most was when we have these strategy meetings, designing what is going to be the next strategy, how we are planning the next launch, how is going to be the content marketing calendar, how we can repurpose the different pieces of content, all these strategy thinking and planning. And every time that I finish a session, a meeting like that was like so energizing. I want more of this. And then when I need to go to do the implementation and the more repeating task was like, this is not so
Yeah.
interesting to me.
Relatable. Yeah.
So how I can
Yeah.
how I can move the balance and do
Mm.
more of the things that I actually enjoy, which is actually something was helpful for my clients because I see how I was providing value, helping them with this. So it was like, okay, how I do
Yeah.
this? And what I did was getting trainings from things related to digital strategies and things, because I studied at the university communication and
Okay.
marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this
Right.
base. And then the knowledge the experience that I get working as a VA, and the new training that I
So
got.
do you feel that you had the confidence from doing the training and in order to kind of shift, or was there like, I don't know if I can really do this? Like,
Wow, that was actually a big step, because when I was a VA and I was offering support in these strategy sessions, I was over delivering.
mm,
So I feel confident. But when I started offering my services as a consultant, that was a different thing, because I was not so confident like I was not able to over deliver. I was
right.
delivering a good
Right.
service,
Yeah.
but it was it was more challenging for my confidence, and I had a big journey around the mindset with money and self-worth and all that. And this has been a long journey. I have help from people. I have done a lot of internal work, analyzing and knowing myself, learning about my own, and all that. So yeah, definitely a
Yeah.
journey. It's not something like
You were just
quickly
like, okay, I'm
done.
doing this. It's amazing. And yeah, no, it's always a journey, always a journey.
Yes,
Yeah. And it brings up all
yes,
of these things that you didn't maybe know, like, wait, I didn't know this was an issue, like, until I started this business and wanted to do this thing. Now I have to deal with this. So, yes, which I love, because I think
yeah,
it's really cool how maybe people disagree, like, no, this is a pain in the ass, but it's like, I think it's really cool how when you have a business, it's also the self-development journey, and it's a reason, right, to do
wow,
all of these things.
yeah,
And then it improves every aspect of your life. So, like, I
yeah,
think that's really neat, but
yeah.
that's a side point. So, okay. So now you were consulting and you stepped into this consultant role. And then what happened after that?
Yeah, so I started offering consulting services, but was a bit of a mess.
Okay.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was trying to figure it out,
Yeah.
my new place
Mm.
in this. I was offering, like planning your lunches for course creation, or for courses, or also helping you in planning how to create your course in all your busy agenda, or how to simplify your strategies for promoting your course. So I was offering several things, or everything around the topic, but it was not super clear. It was not just something, I was not focusing on one specific topic.
Right.
It was a bit of trying to figure it
Yeah.
out, which is something normal
Right.
because I was starting something new. So
Right.
it's
And
like
you
figure it
also
out.
had to see, like, okay, like, what do I like doing? What do people want? Like, what's going to work? And I think that this is a very common next step, quote unquote, right? You kind of start general and then you're like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And it's really important actually to have this phase of experimentation. And most people have it. I've only talked to very few
Yeah.
people who have like had a very straight road. And I'm like, oh, who are you? Like, it's such an anomaly to me. Like, how did you do that? It's so strange. Like,
Yeah.
um, but this, like, and I like that you just put yourself out there and you were just like, all right, I'm going to do this and try this. But at that
Yeah.
time, it sounds like did you have that mindset of, okay, I'm just experimenting, or were you just kind of lost all over, like in general?
I Yeah, it was challenging to me, because it was, I before that with the VA for course creator, it was so easy to
Right.
explain.
Right.
I have a it's a super short line and you understand what
Yeah.
I do. With the new thing, I need to explain all the different things that I can help you with, and I I I felt like I have different services offers. I tried different formats. I did a mastermind for course
Mm.
creators. I did accountability at specific services. I did planning your calendar. So I tried,
Yeah.
but it didn't it didn't feel it didn't feel like I was in an experimenting mood because I have been later in that mood,
Mm.
and it's how you say it. It's like more kind to yourself
Okay.
when you are in that
When
mood.
you're saying, right. So when you're like, have the mindset of, this is an experiment. I'm just playing, I'm going to see what happens. You take the pressure off and you're like, okay, let's see. But that's not what you
Yeah,
were feeling. You were feeling more stress and
I need.
pressure and yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to figure it out. This
Yeah.
that was the mindset
Yeah.
in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
and I have learned over the process
Mm-hmm.
to go to this. I am experimenting, and now I am at the moment I am figuring out the details of a new service, and I am open to experiment. I am looking forward to test things and improve things, but it's in a different mindset, and I know how that is pressure on
Yes,
me,
that's
and I
so
love
important
to be
because,
in that
right,
place.
because it doesn't feel good when you're just like, okay, I'm doing this thing. I have to sell it. I don't know what I'm doing, but like this isn't
Yeah,
working. What's going on? Like, and then you're
yeah,
almost sabotaging yourself because you're not in a relaxed phase. You're not having fun and people can feel this energy. So it
mm,
comes across much different when you're in the
yeah,
energy of, okay, I'm experimenting. Like, let's have fun because you're still making money. You're still selling, you're still doing your thing and you're figuring it out. And it's always an experiment, honestly. Like, no matter, like, there's always an
yeah. It
experiment
is.
going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, especially when you get to points where you realize of things because of that experimentation, and that has happened to me a lot in the last 1 year and a half or so. Has been a lot of that. I have been testing new services which click, and then the framework with when I get to the point where, yeah, I need a way to explain this
Yeah.
and do this in a way that feels right to
Yeah.
me. Something click, and is this.
Yes.
And from that
Yeah.
point is so much clarity because, yeah, I am experimenting and doing my thing, but I know what is the thing that I want to work around and why this is valuable and how it's helping people. So it's like, yeah, it's a nice place to be when you have the clarity on what you want to focus on. Even you have flexibility for experimenting and all
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Yeah.
but at least I know the path that I want to try to
Right.
find.
Oh,
Uh,
listen,
and
I relate with this 127% because I was similar when I started coaching. I was just general, okay, I'm going to coach virtual assistants, like period. There was nothing around that. And then I experimented with I just felt like I had such a hard time one like trying to explain or like why am I special? What am I doing? How do I talk about this? I don't know, I'm coaching your business. Like let's grow your business, And then and also how do I then have one website where I talk about, oh, I'm also an online business manager and I coach, and like it took me a year I think to figure out like just how to incorporate those two pieces. And it wasn't until then I was like, I kind of got into this, like, okay, I help you scale. And I can use like both my psychology background and my, OBM working with these 7-figure businesses to help you scale. And then it was the pivot. Like this to me, and this was a more recent thing. And how do I know it was a thing, like the thing? Because I'm so excited to talk about pivoting, like much more so than talking about scaling, even though they're so related and so the same. Like because of these stories, like I love these stories. I love people talking about their business journeys because I find it so interesting, and because you don't see it, like people just share where they're at now, and you think, oh, they've always, like, oh, you've always done this. Of course, you're the expert in the, your personal brand strategist, but no, you've done 700 other things until you got to this point. And I think it's so cool to like share that. And so anyhow, that's
mm,
a lot of
yeah,
babbling to say that, like, yes, like, and this is very normal, right? To like do all of
yeah,
these things and you find your thing, you're like, oh, it's that, and you just know, like, oh, I like that thing. And then you're like, amazing. And then at some point, maybe you outgrow it, or maybe you do a new thing, or you add and you adapt, and it's great because you've evolved, So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I will stop with my get off of my soapbox, but it makes me excited. Um, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to that, or if you want to keep going.
Yeah. No, I would like to
Yeah.
add something because especially I'm specializing in stories now,
Mm-hmm.
but from the beginning for me it was really important to highlight that I was a VA before because I have worked with teams where there are strategies that they haven't done the implementation. So they
Yes.
don't have the experience of
Yes.
when things go off, as
Yes.
is going to happen for
Yes.
sure all the time,
Yes.
and how much time things get to be done.
Yes.
And the so for me, I always said that I combined several knowledge, and one big piece of that was working with different teams as a VA, because that was, yeah, itself was something that I wouldn't have learned if I go to a whatever course. It's a different experience to be there. And it's something that brings me a lot of value when I was planning strategies for someone
Yeah,
else,
and this
because
is
I
really
have that
important. And
experience.
I'm sure that when you do your story connectors with people, you have them highlight these things because it is special, you know?
Yes,
And it is important
yes.
because just like you said in your case, in my case too, in coaching, why do I coach service providers? Because I have been a VA, I'm OBMs, system, I've done everything and I know the path. And people think that, oh, I want to work with this famous coach or whoever, but they don't know anything unless they've been there. It's so different. Like the knowledge that you have and that we have, to help people, it's so different when you've been in the trenches and you've done all the things. So that is
Mm.
really special. And I think that is important for people to all these service providers. If you're like, oh, I want to step into this or do that and it's not it's not connected, but it is connected. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And this made me think, because I have a client, she had been in there, she tried an e-commerce, didn't went well, and she specialized in how to improve the email marketing systems for e-commerces. So sharing how she failed in that business of herself is helping her connect with the business owners. Why? Because she was in their shoes. So that's why, even I'm bringing this story because especially it's not always because things went well.
Yeah.
It's also when things went wrong. You are getting so many lessons from being there, like the struggles, the challenges, all that, that not because it's something that you felt doing it, it's something that you shouldn't share or you need to hide, let's
Yeah.
say. Is think about that in a way, how you are bringing that, you are making yourself vulnerable, but you are sharing something important that make them understand that you were in their shoes. It's not just from an external point, you were there too. So if the people can think about moments where they were connecting to those struggles and bringing it's not just about bringing the nice, shiny, good things.
Right.
It's about the
Yeah.
lessons. It's about the emotions that you live during that
Yes,
experiences.
100%. Because the emotions are why people buy. That's how you connect
Yeah.
with people. So yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay. So back to your story. So so after this period of, okay, I've done all of these launch things, what happened after that? And you're in this messy middle part of growing your business and figuring it out.
Yeah, so I kept just trying the new services and figuring out. And during the work, I also get to support other personal brand strategies with their programs as
Yeah.
also an instructor in their programs. And there, again, I learned a lot about things that how people were through the stories, especially they need to share their stories, they get stuck not sharing them, finding hard to understand the reason why and all that. So I got that from that community experience. I got that from my own clients where they were not confident sharing them. And I was focusing more and more in the personal branding strategy. And through the method that I have learned, which is called Brandea, there one of the pieces is the story. There is more of them, your values, your why, the topics that you talk about, and one of them is your story. What I found over working and working with clients was again, the more for me, what is different always is your story.
Hmm.
There are more people offering similar services. There are people with similar values. There are no one else with your life path.
Hmm.
So I get more interested into the part of the stories because I was like, this, if you use it strategically, it could be so powerful. It could be a so powerful asset for your business. So that's why I get more and more into that. And also it's connected to I have been always a reader. I love reading, learning about other people's stories. I am curious. So it kind of fits with myself in a way that when I work with someone, it's like I just know their title, how they look like. I don't know all the little stories
Yeah.
that make them deciding things that put them into that specific point as you are. And I know because of your podcast, you also love stories and the journeys.
Yeah.
Is because you know all these journeys what made us as well. It's not just the destination; it's the path.
This reminds me of back in the day when I was online dating years and years ago. I loved first dates because I loved hearing people's stories and their history and like what they do and where they grew up. Like I thought it was so fun to learn like all these things about people. So I don't know if you've been similar with that.
I have never thought about that. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's kind of funny. Also am always interested in this learning about the person,
Mhm.
what was, yeah, their journey. Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
See, I found a connector.
Yes.
I think it's really interesting and kind of cool that you were like, oh, I like branding and brand strategy, but you focused on one piece of it. You didn't feel like, oh, I need to do the whole thing in order to be worthy, in order to be whatever, because there's a lot of stories different types of stories, but false stories that we tell ourselves and think like, oh, I need
Yes.
to do the whole thing. And instead, you took one piece and you're like, this is good. This is where I'm interested and what I'm called towards. And I'm going to just focus on that piece. Was there anything going on? Like, did you ever have any doubts? Like, oh, do I need to do the whole thing in order to grow? Like, was like, you know what I mean? Like anything like that going on in the back of your mind?
This is something that from the beginning was clear to me because of how I have been working with people that they have been trying to do all the things
Mm,
and didn't
yeah.
work as well as when they focus on something specific. So I learned from others how, because yeah, everyone is telling you like go and niche down and all that, but you don't know where or
Right.
how on
Right.
that. So
Right.
you need, I believe that you need a phase where you are just trying to figure it out and it's
Right.
okay. But to me, when I have this click and it's like, okay, I want to focus on this, I then is like, I am focusing 100% on this because I know that it's going to be easier for me to position myself in something specific. The same as a VA. It was much easier for me. Even my first client found me on LinkedIn because my tagline, my keywords, everything was VA for course creators. So it was easier for them to find me. And the same now. I want to be positioned as someone specialized in personal brand story. And then if you need somewhere or you heard about, it's going to be easier to remember. Yeah, Reme is specialized into
Right.
this. She's working 100% on
Right.
this. So she's obsessed with that topic.
Yes.
So maybe she can help you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but to me it was clear that it's not, I don't believe that you need to do that. It's going to help you.
Right. Right.
And I am all about making things easier for you
Mm-hmm.
when you
Yeah,
can.
totally.
So, and one thing that is important to me, and I have been like using it in several ways, is simplify and focus.
Mm-hmm.
Because then if you are trying to put your energy in so many things, it's going to take
Right.
longer. So when you focus on one thing, it's going to help you to through that process. So that's why about there are million things that I didn't have clarity about the specialization. I felt that when I have clarity, I would like to. So first I was in personal brand for course creators, and then when the story, and now it's just the story.
Very neat. Very neat. So in this whole journey, what would you say? that your biggest hurdle has been in growing your business and getting to where you are now? If you had to pick one thing.
If I have to pick one, I would say mindset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how working on my confidence, on my mindset related to money. Because as a VA, I was over delivering, under
Mm-hmm.
charging,
Very common, right? Yep.
so it
Yep.
was easy to
Right.
sell.
The best VA on the planet.
Right?
Yeah.
Was first person that has this, and then moving to the consulting and the strategies was a different range of prices, and I need a process to go through this. So self-worth and money mindset and confidence, that has been some, and as you say, this is a path of self-knowledge
Right.
and all that, because you are working on all these things, and how you are, at least in my case, it's like how when you are asking for a higher price, you need to be more confident with who you are as a professional, as a business owner, as a person. So all of that is involved. So I would say that has been the bigger thing to work on.
Awesome. And then connected to that, is that what you would say your biggest advice would be? Would be to work on your mindset, your confidence, or do you have a different or another tip you would share
Yeah.
that you think is really important?
This is a big one, I would say. I would like to add the one that I just mentioned before about simplify and focus.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you want to try several things, try to simplify as much as possible. And for doing that, getting an external angle.
What do you mean by that?
That's for me. I mean, getting support from someone else, because you are too inside your own story, too inside to your own business, that you don't have that external point of view.
Yep.
That has been really helpful for me, having someone that is helping me during all the process. And it could be different roles. You need to find the one that will be good for you. But I would say that having someone that knows your business and can help you to figure it out things, just by sharing your thoughts with them, would be helpful to get clarity on in which point are you in your journey, and what you want to try next, and to analyze the data, the because I love data and all that, I guess, from the lunches days. I would say that getting the support of someone was really helpful to help me to simplify and focus.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I found this fascinating. I love the stories, the conversation around this. Let us know, how can we stay in touch with you? If there's anything else you want to share, please do that.
Yeah, sure. So I am Reme Mancera. So this is my handle in the different social media. You can find me on Instagram, also LinkedIn, Facebook sometimes. And I have my website, rememancera.com. And I also have a podcast now. So if someone wants to hear more stories, these are from a different angle. So it's about how you decide what to share on your personal brand story and the challenges that you might have behind the scenes. Because as you said, when you see someone, you don't think about their journey to scale or to pivot. The same with the personal brand story. Someone is sharing it confidently, and you might think that they have been like that from all the time.
Yeah.
They are like that naturally. And it's a journey, it's a practicing exercise. So it's bringing the conversation around that behind the scenes.
I love that, because what's the name of your podcast? How do we find it?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. It's Who cares about my
Who
story?
cares about my
That's the
story?
name.
I love that because
Yeah.
in all of my clients that I talk to, this is always a hurdle. It's always something, even just showing up on stories and talking about your business, never mind your personal brand, you know, and all of these things. So this is so relatable. And I think it would give, like, that would be so valuable for people to, you know, again, just as like here we're talking about stories about growing your business and everything behind the scenes, the stories about sharing your personal brand. Like, yeah, like so important for people to hear that and understand that there's a journey there too. And how do we overcome it? And how do we do all of this? And no, we were not born just like, I can tell you 100%, I was not born wanting to stand up and like talk
Yeah.
to social media and do all of these things and share, you know, personal things about
Yeah.
myself. So definitely has been a journey for me.
Absolutely.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Thank you for being here and sharing all of your knowledge and magic with everybody.
Thank you very much.